The problem with the media today, too one-sided, and it takes too long. That's why Judd Dunning and I came up with Bullet Point Nation. We're going to take the 4 big topics you need the inside scoop on and a wild card, and we are just going to blast through them. Are you ready, Judd?
I was born ready, Michael, in an undisclosed year.
All right. We're not going to talk about our age. We're going to talk about the stories that people need the bullet points on. What's bullet point number 1?
Bullet point number 1, 50 ways to keep your president. According to Trump and his legal team and a huge swath of Americans, Trump won, but does he stay in office?
Ooh, bullet point number 2.
Just biding time on the hunt for Hunter with new details released on the DOJ.
Which is going to lead us, of course, to bullet point number 3.
Do you see that? Trey? It got stuck down. COVID this, lockdown nation continues.
And bullet point number 4.
The Chinese are coming. Beauty, in Canada.
And then we're going to have our wild card. Here's how the show works. We are given 90 seconds per dude per topic. 3 minutes total, then we move on. We're not wasting time. We're helping you figure out the big issues. This is when we usually do a graphics package. We're back. We're jumping in. I love it, love it, love it. We got to get right into what you're calling bullet point number 1. This would be the most important one, Judd.
Amen. Okay, let's get the slides going, Mike. I'm the slide master.
You are the slide master.
There we go. Many say Trump won, but will he take office? Are we in the matrix? And what's happening there? So, hey, I think first of all, bullet point number 1, Democrats' fear and loathing over Trump-appointed judges was totally unfounded. Obviously, we don't have the court system in our back pocket. So there's a win for democracy if you want to look at the silver lining. 2, Trump, look, we've seen so much. Our bullet point said we have seen so much proof of fraud. But the question is the fraud enough to overturn the inherent protections of the Electoral College? And that was a question we always thought. Was it going to be stability or justice? It looks like right now America is going for stability. But, buddy, here's the thing. The Georgia case, the Wisconsin case, and maybe coming back the Nevada case, they could come back. If it pushes us into the House of Representatives, it could still go through the vote process. It could still go to the state legislation process, and it could still go to a Trump win. Now, what's interesting about that is you could also have a Trump-Harris ticket because you have to vote for both the president and the vice president through the process. Everybody thinks that Trump is now, leaning back into a potential loss, but there's a huge rumbling, particularly the Wall of Jericho, in D.C. is, will the Insurrection Act be used, which is outside. It's a wild card.
Okay, I did a little bit of research into the executive order that Trump just passed, and it's got the kind of power that Bush had back in 9/11. This could be big. I don't know what's going on. Here's what I want. Here's my big takeaway to you people on the internet saying we've got proof. Here's the proof. Look at this. One of you sons of bitches is going to have to get that to a lawyer so they can do something. I feel like I've seen ballots come out of suitcase. I've seen hard drives I've seen USB drives I've seen Dominion voting, blah, blah, blah. Somebody's going to have to put up or shut up. This is driving me crazy. If there's this much proof, sweet Lord in heaven, can somebody please get it to Sidney Powell?
Yeah, well, and I think too, man, I mean, look, we're in this weird time where we have bullying big tech, we have Main Street meeting canceled. We have this thing now, if we repeat the opposite 3 or 4 times, we wipe out what the opinion was. Like Trump on a 60-minute slide. It's like, oh, well, that's not true. Oh, come on, Fred, that's not true. We're like, wait a minute, this is the president of the United States. So what we do is we just kind of mind wash people out of the position. And now the Democrats are actually flipping it over, saying, the Treason Act, which the president is putting out there, if there was actual evidence about Dominion, Smartmatic, et cetera, they're saying, oh, the 126 Republicans that should be, it's called hashtag stop the seating, they should be liable under the Treason Act, and they shouldn't be able to sit in the House of Representatives. So they're flipping it in the middle of flipping it on us and flipping it again. So I agree with you. Evidence has to come through. Sidney Powell, one of these has to get in front of it. But Michael, here's the question. Let me show you this slide.
Yeah, please do.
Show you this slide, Red, Blue, and Magenta Nation. There's our justices, which we know that. So the question is, will he use his 2018 executive order since we've lost through the Supreme Court? But then if you go forward, there was information on the news that the FBI, some of the patriots in the FBI, actually have found 500,000 counterfeit Biden ballots in the 4 key battleground states. So is the entire DOJ and is the FBI weaponized so that we can't go through a legal process? And the other thing is look, the PA case was only denied emergency injunctive relief. It wasn't denied certification, so that's still in process. So maybe this evidence does get in front of the courts. I mean, that's what we're waiting for. And Georgia.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. I'm glad you brought that up. Bullet point number 2 is what, Judd Dunning?
Boom. We are on the hunt for Hunter, we'll call it. Bullet point number 2. Take it away, Michael Loftus.
This to me is the biggest. This to me is the biggest story between the election, Hunter Biden, the Biden family, the laptop story, and big tech. The harm that's been done to our democracy, I don't think it's like we just got hit by a car and we don't even know how many bones are broken yet. As a country, we're in shock. Every talking head went on TV and said, there's nothing to the laptop story. There's nothing. It's Russian disinformation. They willfully kept this information from the American public. They swayed an election. And that is, listen, that's uncharted territory. They hoodwinked a nation. And I don't think, I'm not going to be fine with an I'm sorry. Here's what Twitter does. You know what? Hey, that's on us. We won't do that again. That's our bad. Nope, not good enough. Same with Facebook. Oopsie. Oops. Did we elect a guy with ties to China? Oh, sorry. It's the algorithm. Nope, and nope. This is the worst thing. This is far worse than any Russia collusion or Russia election interference. It worked. Yeah. This worked.
Yeah. And what came out today is, according to Saturday's reports, Hunter Biden received nearly $500,000 to sit on the board of Ukrainian gas company Burisma, and the money was never disclosed in his 2014 tax return. So now they're getting him into tax evasion, which is how we've got to a lot of the elites in the past. But think about it, Mike. If I found your laptop, it might be a little embarrassing. No, I'm kidding. If you found anyone's laptop, right now, the window into the soul is our phone. I mean, we know that we are tracked in every form or fashion. Why is this elite untouchable? And then Trump turned around, right, in his recent statement about Barr. Why didn't Bill Barr reveal the truth to the public before the election about Hunter Biden? Joe was lying on the debate stage that nothing was wrong going on. Press confirmed. Big disadvantage for Republicans at the polls. Man, we lost 17% of the people said, can I actually reverse my vote after that came back? Vote, mail in, vote. The guy's obviously, he's a crack addict. Hey, I know enough about recovery to tell you that people with a drug problem are going to do whatever they want. He even took diamond rings from the guys at Burisma. Tell me his dad was involved. No way. Especially how he talked about flipping it over on the attorney, the general attorney there, attorney general of the Ukraine, and getting him disbarred and bragging about it. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Isn't it crazy?
Dog-faced pony soldier.
Isn't it crazy that no one at the DOJ leaked it? There was no leaks. It was airtight. It never got out. Confirmation that the kid was being investigated. And listen, they'll get Joe too. Let's go bullet point number Trey.
Nice. Give us one more. We need a double barrel. We need my nose is itching. We're talking about COVID. My throat is tightening. I've got a little hypochondriac. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't. I don't believe it. Okay, COVID-19. So Michael, here we are. You in New York, me in Los Angeles, California. Amazing today. I'm walking down. I went surfing in Manhattan Beach this morning, and I'm like, wow, where are the masks? And then I went, wow, all the restaurants are now takeout with outdoor seatings. I'd say California's in full rebellion. A lot of patriots out there. Tell us how it's going and what your thoughts are on the COVID lockdown in New York City.
Well, it's absolutely horrible, and it appears to be absolutely worthless. The You look at states that, oh, they started wearing masks here, and these guys are about. It's the same rate of infection. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. Getting outside is good. Fresh air is good. These lockdowns, it's just. It's at the point now where if you have a small business and you're obeying your governor, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You have to open up. You have to open up. Everybody across the country. We can't do this. You're fighting for your very survival. This is not for your governor to determine whether you live or starve. It's for you. So open up.
Yeah, like Charlie Kirk said so beautifully, he's like 17% of American restaurants are shutting down because 0.002 of the population are having fatality. So if you take 250,000 into 324 million Americans, roughly, because I'm going to say some of those are misdiagnosed, it's 0.00072 fatality. And we're shutting down the biggest economic engine in the world, man. You know, look, I got to tell you, I haven't been masking up through this whole process, people. I put it on occasionally. I'm too smart. I understand that the microns and the size of the disease aren't even stopped by this. I understand the second I touch my mask that it's already contaminated. I mean, I sat by a liberal Democratic nurse from Seattle who said behind the scenes the doctors weren't practicing principles because they know it's false. So here's the stats. Here's our stats. 0 to 19 years, 99.997 survival rate, 20 to 49, 99.98, 50 to 69, 99.5, 70, 94.6. Grandma, grandpa, stay on the teat, stay home. The rest of us, we're going to pull the cart forward for you. And people are starting to act out because the elites aren't like, they're just, how can you respect your father? You want to use psychology if they don't adhere. So Pineapple Grill, love this gal calling out the film industry hypocrisy, right? It was crazy.
Yeah, they're connected. They're connected. They go to Gavin Newsom and like, hey, we need this money. But that's the stat I want to talk about. The one behind your big Judd Dunning surfer do. These are what the total deaths in the U.S. year by year.
Just 1 minute on this, producer, because this is really good. Yeah, this is crazy, man. So as of January, there are 2,130,000 deaths, and we're trending at 236 a month through the United States. All of our mortality. If you average it up to this December, that's 2.838, 2,838,000 deaths in America. Wow, seems like a lot of deaths. Well, let's go backwards. In 2019, 2,855,000 deaths. When you go back to 2018, let's check that stat. 2,839,000 deaths. Go back to 2017, 2,813,000 deaths. There is a constant rate of the turnover and survival of Americans. This is a hoax, man. This is a hoax. And this guy called it out. He said, hey, we're not going to enforce this anymore. I know the stats.
Yeah. I think with that graph, if you ever do that again, I think you go, you know how many people died in 2018? 2.8 million. 2019, 2.8 million. You know what it's going to be for 2020? 2.8 million.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a vaccine for that. I don't think you need a vaccine for regular.
Yeah, you don't need a vaccine for regular. So may we wake up during the 100 days of masking under Biden, the 100 days of masking. Does he not have access to these stats? And give us the bell, producer. We're going to keep the show on time. The fastest 18-ish moments on the internet. All right. Moving forward into our next bullet point is the Chinese are coming. Bullet point number 4. The Chinese are coming. Beauty, to Canada. So, Mike, you know quite a bit about this. I mean, it's really interesting on the levels. Like, we're looking at the Insurrection Act. We're looking at was there international interference in our elections? Has there been? We're on this zero-sum war with China for world dominance, and now we're finding out they're deeper in America than we ever thought. And you say?
Well, first of all, I can't believe Canada is letting Chinese military train in Canada. Like,
Yeah.
what are they? Like, we don't know how to fight in the cold. What, they can't find someplace cold in China?
Yeah,
What are
China's cold.
What are you talking about? This is the dumbest thing. Like Trudeau is the biggest moron on the planet. I think we should be officially allowed to walk across the border and smack him upside his little bitch head. So
Yeah,
that's
I
one
hope
thing.
they're not planning on a dual invasion. Maybe Canadians haven't been happy lately. It is cold up there. They only dominate the land, right? Nobody's going there. Maybe China and Canada are gonna. No, it'll never
Why
happen.
would you
But
do
it's
this?
crazy, man. He's playing with fire on our border. I mean, look, we've already got communists and socialists now in our standard governmental structure, right? I mean, forget the red scare days of the McCarthy era.
Yeah.
Everybody's now they're on our border.
This would be like France letting Nazi Germany practice in their country. Hey, just so in case you want some practice on attacking England, you could figure it out right here. It's the most bonehead thing. And all of these people seem to be brainwashed like, ooh, China's getting a rough deal. These states now have like, ooh, it's respect China Day. It's lesbian. No one's being mean to China. They
Yeah,
unleashed a virus and we're all like, aren't they awesome? What
yeah,
the heck?
exactly. Can I sue them for the seven-figure loss I took this year by handling their bat soup poorly, or their Madagascar flying fox, or their post rat, whatever bushmeat they're eating, right? So I mean, seriously, what's the liability on this? And now that if Trump doesn't stay in, how are we going to hold them accountable, man? I mean, these guys have unleashed the beast. We've had reparations all over the world. I mean, I
We
say we
won't.
wipe out some of the federal debt.
We won't. If Biden gets in there, it'll be same old, same old. It'll be as if it never happened.
Yeah, yeah. And then you have, of course, now there are some apparently there's some very special skills to the Chinese spies. So if and look, I don't know how to say this probably, but if you're into Asian gals or guys, be careful. Be careful. That's how I'll say this, because Fang Fang is out there. Apparently, this gal was not only was she effective but promiscuous. So be careful. I don't know what to say about this without sounding sexist, but this is serious. We've got Chinese spies on the ground there. We know they're stealing our information. We know that they want to be dominant in the seas, in the air, and militarily. They're showing us openly. Joe's like, oh, come on, man. China's not a big serious threat. He said that. This is the new presidency we may be going into.
Well, you've got Harvard professors going to jail for selling secrets to China and research to China. You've got Dianne Feinstein's chauffeur, I think, was a Chinese spy.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's like the Red Menace in the 1950s. I just it's I don't like Eric Swalwell so much. I feel bad for Fang Fang. Because she was talking to her bosses back in Beijing and they're like, "Well, does he like you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think he does. You should probably bang him. You should." And she's like, "Are you sure?" "I don't think I should have to." "No, you have to do it for China and really make him feel good about himself." And then she's just like, ha, ha, ha,
Very good. Very good, producer. Thank you. Okay. All right. Give me back to that was probably racist. Give me back to the era of Don Rickles. You can't even go, oh, thank you. Thank you. Why
yeah.
not?
What do you
Because they're Chinese Americans.
What do you want?
All
A
right.
cookie?
Moving on. We're at promo time. Promo time. Hey. Woo. All right. You got to copy my book, producer. Could you grab me one of those? Would you mind? So, all right. Here we are with Michael Loftus. Why don't we start while we're grabbing my book? Let's talk about you. So when is your new comedy special coming out, Michael Loftus? And I believe you had a pretty special guest today.
They moved it. They moved the air date of my stand-up special for Fox Nation. Now they're saying it's going to be January 5th. January 5th. So we're going to make that all nice. We're going to present that we're going to drop it, as the kids say. I'll have all the updates here at bulletpointnation.com and at theloftusparty.com. And that's where you can find all kinds of goodness. You can find more comedy videos. You can find the podcast. And we had a very special guest on the show. We had
Oh
Mr.
yes,
Mr. Greg
let us
Gutfeld.
hear. I believe I even prepared a slide because I did a little historical research on your podcast guest today, the great Greg Gutfeld. Tell us
Yeah.
more.
He's a fascinating dude. I really like this guy. He grew up in Berkeley. He's a Berkeley, California
Really?
guy. Yeah. And he was just so blown away by the craziness that it turned him into a small government libertarian. He worked for Men's Health. He was at the Huffington Post. He was at Maxim magazine. And boy, when he hit Fox News, that was just a match made in heaven. And he's been doing great. A very interesting dude. We talked music, we talked politics, we talked guitars, and the punk scene, and how the conservatives we are the new punk.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the new punk, red pill punk, baby.
Yeah.
Red pill
But
punk.
now,
That's awesome.
we got to talk about your book. I know you've been burning up the airwaves. You've been doing so
before
many.
we talk about your book, I just want to say January 5th on Michael Loftus's special on Fox Nation, I might be brandishing a weapon in Georgia protecting the polls. So I may be watching it online, but I know it'll stream repeatedly because I want to fly. I want to go in there. I want to watch those polls. Like, I'm here. I want to watch the election. I don't know how.
You should do it. You should do it.
Right? I'm going to take the kids. Hey, here's an example. Democracy.
And live stream it. Live stream the whole thing.
That's a great point.
I'm sure there's a TV station down there or a radio station that wants to talk to you about your book. I think you've been on every television show and radio show.
Check it out. 13 and a half reasons why not to be a liberal and how to enlighten others. I had to look for my own stuff with myself and Eric Golub. I just want to say the people at Newsmax on Humanics, they backed us on this book. We've hit bestseller in several categories since we came on the on Amazon since we came out. A lot of it is because I've been on Newsmax 5 times. I'm going to be back on 3 times this week. We had Jenny Keffler, did a great job on the radio. We did about 15, 20 shows. And then we're being picked up by a woman by the name of Sandy Pundits. And we're going to start our book tour tomorrow. So
nice.
Couldn't say enough great things. And, great Christmas gift, guys. If there's that liberal you want to give the title, they may never open the book, but they're gonna roll their eyes and you're gonna get a good laugh because this is a great book. So thanks for asking.
Here's a question I have for you. A question I have. Of the 13 and a half reasons why not to be a liberal, what's the half reason?
It's the maintenance of the toenails. It's how most liberal. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, the half reason. It's funny because we actually got in trouble in one show. Is we put Trump at the last chapter and then we put life. Pro-life, pro-choice at the end for a reason. And people are like, oh, well, it's just a half reason. And I actually got some flack for that. I said, no. I said, it has so much primacy that we set it outside the book because it's always going to have tension because it is this huge issue, which is I'm pro-life, but the sanctity of a woman's right is also sacred as well. So we have this conflict, but it shouldn't be the only reason you become that you don't become a Republican or the only reason you become Democrat. It's more important than politics, actually. So that's why we placed it there.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful answer for the half reason. Now I think the big hand on the clock is saying it's time to do our wild card.
Here it comes. All right. Our wild card is
You suck.
You suck. That should be the award. This should be the time you suck award. No, I'm kidding. So really interesting, Mike. Breaking news. After Obama won the Nobel Prize for no reason. Yeah, Biden and Harris, for merely almost getting elected, are Person of the Year, which is basically a media participation trophy. Michael Loftus.
Well, that's precisely what it is. A lot of times the media they'll do stuff to try to make something happen. They're like, ooh, we need to elevate Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We just need people to think they're important. They're on the cover of Time magazine as the Person of the Year. They haven't done anything. They didn't even win. Like Joe Biden, he didn't even campaign. He was in the basement all the time. I think unless they're giving out Person of the Year for who wore the most masks. Who was the most confused on stage? Who called their their buddy a racist on the debate stage. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, called each other, right? Because remember, Kamala Harris was like, you supported busing back, back in 72, and my family was bused. I mean, Kamala was his biggest attacker. They don't even like each other. It's apparently person of the year. You don't even have to like each other either to be nominated as one person.
You see that picture of Joe Biden holding Kamala Harris's hand back there on the screen? That's the same way he held Robert Byrd's hand when he was Robert Byrd. Robert Byrd, who was like a recruiter for the KKK.
He's a grand cyclops. A grand cyclops.
I don't know. You know what? This gets fact checked a lot. I don't think he was a grand. I think he was an exalted there's some crazy, but like that's the funny thing. There's a picture of Joe Biden holding up the hand of Robert Byrd, and people like, oh, he's a grand dragon in the KKK. And Facebook fact checks it. They're like, he wasn't a grand dragon. He was an exalted Like they're mad about the terminology of him hanging out with a racist.
There are fine people on both sides of that discussion. Right. That's the other distortion of the era. That's the whole basis of the Trump lie, was preserving history over racism, which was crazy. And on this note, interesting enough, today the Proud Boys were fighting Antifa. There's already these underpinnings of threat coming, and the media is running wild with it. The media is just running wild with this stuff. So this was I thought this was fake news just got to its fakiest level. I mean, if Times first of the year, once again, awarded for nothing. I think we should be awarded for being on show, 100.
I would like to at least be considered. Judd, that was a fantastic episode. People got to go to BulletPointNation.com. They got to get your book. They got to watch my stand-up special. They got to go to the YouTube channel and see all the great content, like talking smack over burgers and talking smack over tacos. There's so much good stuff. I'm exhausted.
I want to tell you, our 18-minute show is ringing in at 27 once again, and we're still an under half-hour show, and it's fascinating.
We're some of the finest people that walk the planet. I'm exhausted. I'm going to hit the showers. I'll see you at the next show.
I appreciate that. It is bath night, Sunday. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you next week. Keep logging in. Don't forget to see Michael at the Loftus party. He's dropping some great videos. You can also see those on our website, BulletPointNation.com. God bless you. God bless America. God bless the show. We'll see you next week.